Talking UFC 200 now, jumping into the biggest event in the history of mixed martial arts. And, Sean, this card is absolutely loaded. We're just going to mention quickly the UFC Fight Pass early prelims because of time constraints here.
And what's funny is this could be probably a pretty good card on its own.
Oh, completely. This is absolutely absolute insanity right here. Takanori, Gomi, Jim Miller. Because why not? Let's get these two guys back fighting each other. And why not? There's old fan favorites. They're going to put on a fun fight. We don't know what their future is in the UFC.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun, exciting fight to start the night. That's what they are. They are the first card of the night, basically getting the crowd going.
And you want to talk about getting the crowd going. Gegard Mousasi has completed his heel turn against the UFC fans, it seems like, after his win over in London in February. And he's going to get a very interesting opponent. It's not going to be Derek Brunson, who had to pull out of the fight. He's going to get Thiago Santos, who, if you've watched recently, this guy's got a lot of potential. He's the number 15th ranked middleweight right now. He's 13-3. He beat Elias Theodoro. He's beaten Steve Bossy. He took care of Nate Marquardt so quickly back at UFC 198.
Yeah, so quickly he was able to take this fight too.
I think that's an upset, but that's the first potential upset of the night. Santos is one of those guys you might want to watch out for in a couple fights because he could be getting some bigger names at middleweight if he can take down Gegard Mousasi, and Mousasi would fall victim to another upset a la Uriah Hall a couple of months ago. Yep. Jumping into the prelims card that you will see on Fox Sports 1, Super Sage Northcutt gets local talent in his first big fight. No, he actually fights Enrique Marin of the Ultimate Fighter Latin America fame. I know, Sean, you've been glued to the Ultimate Fighter Latin America too.
Oh, yes. I ordered a channel just so I could watch it.
Yes. Enrique Marin. Listen, if Sage doesn't beat this guy, we've got an issue here for your Super Sage Northcutt.
Yeah, he's not so super.
Pushes.
He's not so super. But you did. I'm sorry, real quick though, but you skipped over a fight in the Fight Pass. I don't want to,
I wanted to do that on purpose because I knew your reaction would be. Diego Sanchez and Joe Lauzon.
You set me up. That's messed up, man. I thought we were coming together and having a chemistry here. Now you're setting me up like this.
Yes, because this could be the best fight of the night. Sanchez, Guida, I've mentioned it many times in this podcast, is my favorite fight of all time. Yeah. These two dudes are going to leave it all in the line on Fight Pass.
Yeah, they have nothing to lose. And they're known to just fight. And both of them love to fight. You know, the worst part about it is they may have to change the canvas when this fight is over.
I was just about to say that canvas might not be white or gray. That canvas could be spots of red all over the place. These are two of the these are fan favorites. These guys know how to get a crowd on their feet. They're going to launch this card. Hopefully people show up early because, man, you have to watch this fight. This is worth buying Fight Pass just for this fight.
Look, normally I tell you, look, don't get there early for the Fight Pass. Probably the prelims till the middle. You better get there at 5:30. Be in your seat at 6:30 their time.
Yep.
And ready to go because starting with fight 1, this is an action-packed card. I mean, usually, you may get a main event on the Fight Pass that's like, oh, okay, I want to watch those guys. And, there's not one fight on here that I would say, no, let's look, we can go to the soda. We can go get a soda at this time. I'm looking for the guy that's walking with the sodas. That's what I'm doing at this card because I'm not leaving my seat.
There's no reason to. Sanchez, so high paced, he will just go and go and go. Lauzon, he knocks people out. He finishes people. Like that. This is what he does, and this could be the fight of the night.
I just think that they have nothing to lose. They have nothing to gain. It's not like either of them are going to jump up into the standings beating each other. They're just going to go out there and be like, the only thing they can really do is go for fight of the night. or knockout of the night or submission of the night. That's what they're going for. Both of them. That's what they're going for.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun. Do you want to pick those fights? Do you want to add them to the list of?
No, because I don't know which those fights are a little bit more harder to pick than. I don't like picking the fights where they just stand there and punch each other in the face.
Yeah, those ones are rough. What we can do is we both picking Sage Northcutt over Enrique Marin, because I can give you that one if you want.
No, I mean, I'll take Northcutt because I think, as you say, if he doesn't beat him, this super is not so duper.
Yes, absolutely. Northcutt needs this win. I know he had the illness on that UFC Newark card when he lost to Brian Barberena.
Yeah, that makes no sense. He outclassed him in that fight, man. I don't care.
And Barberena looked really good when he was fighting in Brazil too.
Mm-hmm.
He's one guy not to sleep on for sure. Let's jump into one of the most intriguing bouts of the night, at least to me. TJ Dillashaw, Raphael Assuncao. 135 pounds bantamweight. Dillashaw, who wanted a rematch after losing the title to Dominic Cruz, did not get that. Instead, we got Uriah Faber getting beat up.
All right. Woohoo!
We got Uriah Faber getting beat up by Cruz for 5 rounds. So now we get Dillashaw, who, with a win here, obviously should get a rematch. Javier Assuncao has been out for a while with a multitude of injuries, a rib injury, ankle injury. How do you see? I mean, this guy's been out for a while. We talked about those Anjos earlier in the pod with an injury that just kind of kept him out 6 weeks.
Yep.
Assuncao has been all over the place, and we haven't seen him in a long time. He's been inactive since 2014.
Yep.
What's going to happen with him?
See, this is where we go back to this dilemma that we have here on the show.
Yeah.
Does he come back how he looked before? Does he get the ring rust, which apparently we're told there's really no such thing as ring rust. It's just the mentality. And then you got TJ Dillashaw over here on the side fighting the unknown, but, he's got to prove, he's got to come out and make a statement, and it's, you don't know what you can get from Assuncao. So, you know what? I mean, I think Dillashaw should be able to take this one. But, again, we don't know what we're going to get from Assuncao. Is it going to be the number 3 fighter in the world, or is it going to be the guy that's had almost 2 years, a year and a half, whatever it is, off?
I think. Continue.
No. So, but I mean, again, you're facing the number 1 ranked, 135 fighter right now. So it's not like you're coming back to fight, some guy just to have a fight. He's got to come in and make a statement as well. So Assuncao's got a lot more, I think. Actually, it makes this fight really, for both fighters, mean something, because if Assuncao can come in and, of course, beat Dillashaw, I'd probably put him right in line for the next title fight. But Dillashaw is trying to prove that he deserves the next title fight, which he should get if he defeats Assuncao.
Assuncao is technically on a 7-fight winning streak, and he's beaten TJ Dillashaw before. That was back in 2013, however. And like you mentioned, he's been inactive for a while, and I think the worst type of fighter to fight off of a long layoff like this is someone like TJ Dillashaw. The speed, the pressure from the onset is what you'll get from him. The tempo that he'll set. I don't know if Assuncao's cardio will be up for the task at all, even if he was at full strength. Dillashaw is a much better fighter than he was a couple years ago when they first tangled in the octagon here. The striking, I think, is much better for Dillashaw. I think the grappling's better. He's got an advantage, Assuncao, on the ground when it comes to submissions, because we've seen that more from him. But the only reason why Dillashaw was unable to beat Dominic Cruz is because he couldn't out Dominic Cruz.
Yeah,
Assuncao is not that type of fighter. I think Dillashaw can use that strategy once again, and I think we're looking at a overwhelming decision victory for TJ Dillashaw in this bout. What do you think?
I think the ring rust will get to Assuncao. I think Dillashaw is gonna get a stoppage.
So it's good. We're in agreement again.
Yes, unfortunately. Here we go.
This is fun. This is really fun. All right, then let's see about this one. We've got multiple ring rusts coming off of this, essentially, if you want to look at it this way. Johny Hendricks and Kelvin Gastelum. Major injury layoffs for both of them previously. It was a bad loss for Hendricks against Wonderboy Thompson, where he looked not like the welterweight champion of old. He had the weight cutting problem. And meanwhile, Kelvin Gastelum, who is 12-2, he's the number 12 ranked welterweight in the world right now, according to the UFC rankings. But he's coming off a loss to Neil Magny. He lost to Tyron Woodley in 2015. He lost to Nate Marquardt. Or he beat Nate Marquardt. He beat Jake Ellenberger. So these aren't like names when you look at it, wow, Gastelum's been on a tear. No, he's kind of just been around. He's got a lot of potential. And this is a major fight for him, because if he wants to jump in when welterweight's getting deeper and deeper by the day, I mean, who knows what could happen when you see like what monkey wrench is GSP going to throw into that division? Are there guys going to be dropping? Like, this is a fight for Gastelum where he's got to win to jump into the title picture or jump into being even talked about in the top 10. Because if not, then you're kind of just falling away into the shadows here. And for Hendricks, this is a former champion here, people. This is not just anybody. And can he even push it at 175 pounds anymore? This is a fight with major stakes, even though it's probably the least talked about fight on the preliminary to main card. What do you see out of this fight? Where do you see these guys going in this bout?
I mean, you've kind of hit the nail on the head. They're both trying to get that, Hendricks is trying to get back to where he was. Gastelum's trying to get to where Hendricks was. It's intriguing on a lot of these undercard fights, because you're looking at guys that are, like you look at the fights and you're like, okay, all right, that's going to be a good fight. But they got a lot. Potentially they have a lot on the line for their futures in the UFC. If Gastelum loses this fight and loses bad, I don't know where his contract stands right now, but does he get, re-signed, or they move on from him? Things like that. Those are what these guys are fighting for, and they're going to be fighting on a big stage. You're talking the undercard. Yeah, we're on FS1. No, you're on the undercard of UFC 200.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is where, usually I would say, it's just a prelim, it's FS1 fight. But all these fights are going to have so much impact on these fighters' careers. As you said, Gastelum, if he looks bad in this fight, does UFC just go, it's time for a change? At least Hendricks has got a name.
Yeah.
I don't think Gastelum has that name yet to where, he can stick around. I don't think he makes a cut if he loses this one bad.
And speaking of cuts, this weight cut is brutal for both of these guys.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, Hendricks, his body almost shut down before that Tyron Woodley fight in October.
But I think he's done better to get himself at a. I mean, he was trying to drop how much weight was it that went when he was trying to drop a tremendous amount, right?
It was something insane.
Yeah,
and Gastelum missed weight against Woodley in 2015.
Yeah.
So what are these guys going to look like the day before?
No, but now aren't they doing they're doing the weight in the morning now, right? Correct me. Are they doing that now? Has that started yet?
Vegas has adopted that. I don't know if Las Vegas has adopted.
Okay. So I know the last fights they did the morning.
Yes, because that in Canada they allowed that.
In Canada, okay.
And the California Commission allowed that as well. I'm going to have to confirm that for you. But who do you have in this fight and why? Because it's one of those things where, is it actually going to work? Like, is this going to be a dynamic performance for somebody? Or is this going to be one of those where we watch this fight and we go, well, that's over with?
I honestly believe that's what it's going to be.
Really?
Yes, because, again, we sat there when we did, what was it, Arlovsky and Mir, wasn't it? The heavyweight fight?
Yes.
And neither one of them wanted to make that move to where they would lose. And I have a feeling that's what's going to happen here. I'm not saying that somebody's not going to be able to get caught with something, but I think up until the point to where the ending is near, if somebody catches somebody or something like that, I just think they're going to Because, again, both these fighters have a lot to lose. And they also could gain a lot if they look impressive. So, but looking at past fights and how it played out when you had so much on the line for your career, I see this as being one of those fights where it's like, man, what could have been. But it not going to happen because I believe Gastelum understands that, hey, if I lose this fight, I may be on the outside of the UFC looking in.
And just to confirm, the starting with UFC 200, Nevada is adopting that the earlier weight cut, so they'll weigh in the morning, between 8 and 10 a.m.
And then if they need to cut, they still have a certain amount of time, right? If they don't make the weight,
if they don't make the weight, there is no opportunity for a second cut.
There is no. Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
That's different. If a fighter misses weight in the morning, he or she will not have a second chance to make weight in the afternoon.
So I would be interested to see where these guys are right now at their weight.
Yeah, because especially with these two having weight cut problems earlier, if they don't kind of go with their normal, because their normal weight cut apparently didn't work for both of them.
Yeah,
the past couple years, so they had to change something, and Hendricks was able to make weight against Wonder Boy, but he did not look like Johnny Hendricks.
No,
he did not look like that.
But I think
that guy who was the champ.
Yeah, but I think now maybe with the morning weight, and then he can have full 24 and some change. I think maybe bodies may react a little bit differently. But again, this is where you get into that thing where like you got to lose that weight to get there, but there's more to it than just once you get there, then you got to perform. Does your body react the way you think it's going to react? Because as you said against Thompson, he didn't look like the champion that we'd seen before. And how much of that had to do with how much he had to cut?
For sure, man. Who you got in this one?
I've not been impressed by Gastelum, so I'm just gonna go with Hendricks.
We're in agreement again, Sean.
I mean, he's got a great record, 12-2, but nothing about him stands out to me, man. It's almost
he hasn't been dynamic enough.
Yeah, it's almost. I mean, not to say like I think he's a good fighter. I just don't know if he's at that where he's just to beat Hendricks. But then again, neither of them make weight. The fight gets scratched or gets to a what is it, a catch weight, and then everything could change.
Moving on to the final prelim fight for UFC 200. Kat Zingano, Julianna Pena, the number 3 and number 5 respectively ranked women's bantamweights in the world. We have a potential here. We don't know when Rousey's coming back. We don't know what the deal is with Holly Holm's future championship potentials. We could be looking at the next challenger to the women's bantamweight title in this fight. We haven't seen Kat Zingano since the 14-second loss against Ronda Rousey in February of last year. Pena is the season 18 winner of The Ultimate Fighter. She's 3-0 inside the octagon, and beating Zingano could probably potentially push her to a title shot. Amanda Nunes got that title shot after not that impressive of a performance against Valentina Shevchenko. This is a very interesting bout because of Zingano's return. She's a very polished striker. She can do a lot of different things. I think she's got the advantage in this fight. What are your feelings on Zingano versus Pena?
I don't think she's over the that loss. I don't see how you can get over. And I know it's been a while, but still, man, I mean, that fight was so hyped up to last, what, 14 seconds, was it?
Yeah, 14 seconds.
I mean, that's just not something that I think you can get over until, again, you have to have another fight. I mean, so could this be the fight? I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'm going with Pena.
Going with Julianna Pena.
Yes,
Is
I
it
am.
one of those situations where, I mean, she has been out of action for so long, and jumping right into the octagon and being, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go, and you pull an Aldo, for lack of a better term, and you just dive in and you get punched and lights out, game over. Zingano's going to have to control her emotions and fighting for the first time since that Rousey fight and fight like she can, like fight for this elite fighter that she is.
Yeah.
And not get
but
too hyped up.
Pena's not that much of a pushover. I mean, she's not as seasoned as, Zingano and things like that, but she's been very, very impressive to me. And I think she's going to be able to, I won't say, dominate Zingano, but I think she's going to be able to frustrate Zingano enough to where I think some of that Rousey fight's going to get back into her head, and she's going to lose a little bit of confidence, and then that's when Pena's going to be able to take charge and get a decision, probably victory in this fight.
Pena's got that one-punch knockout power, too.
She does, but I just, I think, again, I think with these prelim fights, there's so much on the line, and you got returns, and you got there's so much to go. Normally with Kat Zingano, I would say, look, she could probably walk in, Pena nails her with a punch. But she does the same thing that she did with Rousey. I think you flip that, and I think she becomes hesitant, which is not what Zingano is, which is why I think Pena could have an advantage in this, because I don't think you're going to see the same Zingano you've seen before because of that 14-second loss.
That's a great point. I hope, because we know what kind of fighter she's beaten. Miesha Tate. She's got an incredible resume.
No, she is incredible. One loss. The one loss is to Rousey. I mean, it's not like she lost to somebody else. I just think, from my standpoint, is that I don't know if she's that recovered from. Look how long it's taken her to really bounce back. I mean, I guess if you want to call it that, but
it's true.
If Pena can frustrate her enough to where she starts thinking and she's not Zingano, then I just think Pena can take this. And this would be a big feather in the cap for Pena. And I think she's she's so young into her career that she's going to see that and her camp's going to have her ready to go. And I just think it's FS1, UFC 200. What better spotlight to say, hey, Julianna Pena has arrived.
I think the one problem with Pena is the gas tank. And Zingano, if she is who she is and fights the way she's thrived at, she'll take her down. She'll go for the submissions. She'll run her over. She'll make sure that Pena does not have this ability come late second round, early third round to do this type of stuff that you're talking about with her power and with her striking ability. I think Zingano is able to hustle through this one. I think it's going to be a little touch and go in the beginning because of that adrenaline rush that she's going to get jumping right in. But I have Kat Zingano in this fight. I'm confident in it, and I think we're looking at a Zingano-Tate fight before Rousey comes back. Because we don't know when that's going to happen.